It was a clear, calm morning over the Pacific Ocean when Aloha Airlines Flight 243, a Boeing 737-200, took off from Hilo, Hawaii, bound for Honolulu on April 28, 1988. The passengers on board expected a short, uneventful inter-island flight, just another beautiful day in paradise. But within 30 minutes, their peaceful journey turned into one of the most terrifying and miraculous aviation incidents in history. What started as a routine flight would soon see a massive section of the airplane's roof tear away at 24,000 feet, exposing passengers and crew to the open sky. What happened next is a story of sheer survival, heroic piloting, and a miracle that defied all odds. As Flight 243 climbed through 24,000 feet, everything seemed normal. The crew, led by Captain Robert Skornsteimer and First Officer Madeline Mimi Tompkins, were chatting with air traffic control, and passengers were relaxing, enjoying the view of the islands below. Then, without warning, a deafening explosion ripped through the cabin. In an instant, a massive portion of the airplane's fuselage, from just behind the cockpit to the leading edge of the wings, blew completely off, turning the front half of the plane into an open-air aircraft. The explosive decompression was so violent that flight attendant Clarabelle C.B. Lansing, who was standing near the separation point, was instantly pulled out of the aircraft and lost to the sky. Inside the cabin, chaos erupted. Passengers were suddenly exposed to hurricane-force winds, freezing air, and an ear-splitting roar. Oxygen masks dropped, but many failed to deploy properly due to the structural damage. Debris flew through the air, and the sound of the engines mixed with the terrifying rush of the wind. The plane shook violently, yet somehow, against all odds, it was still flying. Despite losing a large portion of the roof and walls, the main fuselage and wings held together, a testament to Boeing's structural engineering. In the cockpit, Captain Skornsteimer and First Officer Tompkins were fighting for control. They had no idea how much of the aircraft was gone, only that the noise was deafening and the instruments were going haywire. Cabin pressure was gone, communication was nearly impossible, and the plane was rapidly descending. Tompkins initiated an emergency descent to get the aircraft to breathable altitude, while Skornsteimer tried to stabilize what was left of the fuselage. As the aircraft leveled off at 10,000 feet, the pilots could finally talk to air traffic control. Their voices, calm yet urgent, told the story. "We've lost part of the fuselage. We need an immediate landing." Honolulu Tower cleared them for an emergency approach. But landing wasn't going to be easy. The controls were stiff, the airframe was damaged, and turbulence from the missing section made the plane difficult to handle. The passengers, many clinging to their seats and each other, could see blue sky above them and the ocean thousands of feet below through the gaping hole in the ceiling. Incredibly, the flight attendants, despite their own injuries and fear, continued helping passengers stay calm and secure. They moved people away from the damaged sections and tried to assist anyone struggling to breathe. The teamwork between the crew in the cockpit and the cabin was extraordinary. Their training and quick thinking would ultimately save lives. As the crippled 737 approached Honolulu, the pilots prepared for a high-speed emergency landing. The landing gear was deployed, and despite the damaged structure and the howling wind, Flight 243 touched down safely on runway 8 at Honolulu International Airport. The moment the wheels hit the ground, cheers erupted from the passengers who realized they had survived one of the most dramatic in-flight failures in aviation history. Of the 95 people on board, only one life was lost, flight attendant C.B. Lansing. The rest survived with varying degrees of injury, from bruises to fractures. The passengers and crew were hailed as heroes, and the pilots received widespread recognition for their incredible skill and composure under unimaginable circumstances. In the aftermath, investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, launched a full inquiry. What they found was both shocking and enlightening. The cause of the disaster was metal fatigue and corrosion. The aircraft, built in 1969, had completed over 89,000 flight cycles, meaning takeoffs and landings. The constant pressurization and depressurization over 2 decades had weakened the fuselage skin. Tiny cracks had developed under the paint, undetectable during visual inspections. When the plane reached 24,000 feet that day, those cracks finally gave way, tearing the roof apart. This incident changed aviation safety forever. The NTSB recommended stricter maintenance inspections for older aircraft, especially those operating short, frequent routes like island-hopping flights. Boeing also introduced improved structural bonding techniques and more advanced fatigue detection systems. The Aloha Airlines Flight 243 incident became a cornerstone case in aviation engineering and safety training, reminding the world that even the smallest cracks can lead to catastrophic failure if left unchecked. Today, the story of Flight 243 is remembered not just as a terrifying accident, but as a miracle of survival. It stands as a powerful example of human bravery, engineering resilience, and professional skill under pressure. The crew's calm decision-making, combined with the aircraft's robust design, turned what could have been an unspeakable tragedy into a story of hope and heroism. Even decades later, when pilots and engineers study the case, they're reminded of one simple truth. In aviation, every detail matters, and sometimes, even in the face of disaster, miracles can fly.